familiars. I basically um, ask the party to decide. So once they have familiars in the group, one or multiple of them with familiars, they ask about combat. Are they at risk? And I say, that's up to you. If you want to use them in combat, they're fair game, right? If you don't want to use them in combat, then effectively they're going to be invisible. They're not going to be participants in it. And I think that that's fair because honestly, if you want it, if it's really cool that you have a lizard, but you don't like a lizard in your pocket, that's like your wizard's thing. It would be pretty uncool to constantly be targeting that and like turning the screws on that sort of thing. Like that would probably be not very much fun. Rodrigo, how would I run NPC companions? My party is on a side quest to rescue an NPC party. I don't want them to impact combat too much, but I also don't want them to feel like 4 dead weights. In my experience, if you allow a sidekick or an NPC to sort of fade into the background of a combat, most of the time players aren't going to question it. They could literally duck and hide under a rock, or like just to get out of view, or like get down, like the the adults are fighting or whatever. It's fine unless you want to make it a mechanic, unless you want to make it something that probably just phasing them out, letting them be in the background, and maybe just if anything referencing stuff that they're doing to stay out of trouble. They could always help here or there. I agree, like unless you have an intention for the encounter to be that sort of thing, making them hostages, making them under risk or under threat isn't necessarily a fun thing every time, because then you'll have parties that resent having NPCs with them at all because it's dead weight, like you said. If you have a smaller group, or even if you're running for like a solo player, like I've done in the past, a sidekick or a companion character can be really helpful to help balance those encounters out and give you more room. So you could say, like, if there is somebody who's like a sidekick NPC, maybe you control them during role play and like non-combat scenarios, but in combat the party gets to control them. Like somebody, maybe everybody gets a companion, gets a sidekick, gets like a couple of turns they can take. Maybe even if it was something where every other round one of the sidekicks got to act and somebody got to pick who got to do it. Like you don't want to make it something that increases a lot of time spent during combat, because that's already a precious, like time during combat is a precious resource that we want to sort of try to balance out. But yeah, I think you can get creative with it. I think so much of this depends on how big the group is, how many NPCs, what's the exact scenario. But all the things that I'm describing across this whole spectrum of like approaches, I think are all fair game. It's just a matter of what kind of how you want these NPCs to impact your combat.
And there are rules in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything for creating level appropriate sidekick NPCs that have very simple stat blocks for in-game use. And then you can amp up the difficulty.
This actually is related to familiars. I basically ask the party to decide. So once they have familiars in the group, one or multiple of them with familiars, they ask about combat. Are they at risk? And I say, that's up to you. If you want to use them in combat, they're fair game, right? If you don't want to use them in combat, then effectively they're going to be invisible. They're not going to be participants in it. And I think that that's fair because honestly, if you want it, if it's really cool that you have a lizard, but you don't like a lizard in your pocket, that's like your wizard's thing. It would be pretty uncool to constantly be targeting that and like turning the screws on that sort of thing. Like that would probably be not very much fun. That would almost feel like it's attacking the character specifically and their choices in a way and making them more of a target, even if that's realistic to the world, to the whatever. That's just probably what it would feel like. But if they're like enlarging their lizard and using it to like gain flanking or something, to like gain an advantage in a combat scenario, or like, you know, then it's like, okay, well, you're putting them into the field of battle. They're a player now. Something could happen. Rodrigo, you're a bit conflicted because you want to make a boss fight with a mind control monster, but losing control of your PC can suck. So I wanted the companions as a way for the player to keep playing. I think that's a good thought process, because that's to some extent the question is, if you're fighting a mind, like here's another angle, like uh you could also interpret mind control a little bit. So in other words, what if the party is fighting this mind control monster and all of a sudden they're teleported seemingly to some fantastical plane, and they're fighting the monster or different monsters, or they're fighting in strange environments, and it's only once they defeat the creature that they kind of realize like, oh, that was all like representative of a struggle we were having in our minds, and what did we do? Like, what did it cause us to do while we were, fighting for control again? Like, you could, like, it'd be a clever way of bringing back a mind control monster for a second fight, is they finish the fight not realizing that all they did was like break, like their will broke the spell, and so they could finish the fight, and then the plane, the astral plane around them disappears, and they've just like destroyed the town square. It's like, what did we do? Right? So they all had control, they all got to fight and do the thing, but they sort of wake up afterwards, and then they find out that, oh, we just rebuffed this monster. Now that monster can come back, and I think we all know how rare it is for monsters to ever, get a second try against our parties. So I like to take those opportunities whenever they come up. But anyway,
that was a question. That was a quest in Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not the rebuff part, but you think you're doing something else,
but you're actually mind controlled.
But you're actually just, you're not killing goblins, you're killing townspeople.
Great minds think alike, I guess. Export that sucker. Got the thumbnail made. Got the rest of the video or the rest of the stream from this night sort of boxed out. I'm going to get 4 more videos out of it. So that's exciting. It's going to be really hard not to want to hit editing again tonight. I just want to get like a week's worth of videos scheduled. That way I don't have to think about it for a few days. Because I really like these videos going up every day. I think it's been good for the channel. So I'm just going to keep demolishing my stream numbers by not crafting, not doing any sort of design or interesting work. I'm just going to keep grinding through videos. But so we all have something to look forward to. But like this, the actual process of it, the fact that I could just like be having a conversation or a couple of conversations, edit this down reasonably, export it in like 2 minutes, attach a thumbnail to it, and be done, and it actually gets response. Like, I can't tell you how many hours I spent on some of these earlier stream clip videos.